Reddit fresh. Am I the idiot for showing favoritism for my daughter and financially hurting my son? My ex-wife, female 36, and I, male 36, have been divorced for 7 years now. We have twins, both 17 FM. My wife and I are the stereotype of high school sweethearts. I'm more of a geek. She was a cheerleader. My son takes after my wife and my daughter takes after me. When they were younger, I gave them the option of allowance. They could either spend the money on what they wanted to, or I could walk them through investments and savings. My wife was all for this at that time. We explained that they each have a set amount of money that we have put away for future schooling as well as a car fund. At first, both of my kids decided to invest in it, and I started to show them how to and the risk involved. My son put his into a very risky investment, against my advice, and ended up losing it, and decided not to do it anymore, within a few weeks. My daughter started off rough, but quickly got the hang of it, playing with different investments and companies. She has been in the positive most weeks. The issue is that due to this, my daughter has saved up more money than her brother. She also likes to spend most of her time over at my house versus my son over at my ex-wife's house. My daughter's interests are more minimalistic when it comes to most things and does not spend a lot of money. She will when she finds things she likes. She is not into fashion, rarely puts on makeup. When she does, it is very light, bought a used but nice car, etc. They just got their acceptance letters for college, and she will be able to pick any of her choices due to grades and her savings plus our contributions. My son, on the other hand, spends most of his money when he gets it. Always has new clothes constantly, a bunch of shoes, bought a new, very expensive car with payments, goes out all the time, and spends everything he gets. My son is upset because he can't go to the college he wants because he would need to get a loan, and with what I make, he doesn't qualify for much. My ex says I need to stop favoring my daughter and financially hurting my son and just paying for his college, among other things. Her and her side of the family are all calling me an AH for not paying because you easily could. I told them that they had a choice when he was younger, and he didn't listen. I also pointed out the fact that if he had saved his money, he would have also been able to go where he wanted. He needed to get a job to cover costs if he wanted to go, and life was about choices. TLDR. My daughter is more like me, a geek. My son is like my ex-wife, popular and materialistic. Gave them an allowance and the opportunity to invest and save. Only my daughter did, and now my son and family are mad that I'm not giving him more money and favoring my daughter. Early ETA. I did keep asking him to try again throughout the years, but he didn't care. I gave up almost 2 years ago when he said he wanted to live almost full-time at his mom's house. We had an argument that made me back off. I didn't just stop and drop it when he was really young. Edit 2. We did not give him his college fund. He has enough money in his college fund that he can attend a community college for 4 years or a good college for 2. Nothing fancy or big. The money that was invested was an allowance or spare money. My daughter would use B-Day money, Christmas money, allowance, or any extra chore money. His fund was never used in any way other than for school. It is safe and locked up. Allowance was free to use money. The school and car fund were separate and not accessible by the kids. I'm not bragging, but I could send them to the best colleges for as many years as they want, and fund their lives comfortably. Edit. Dorma comment. Question on what I meant by, among other things. Basically, unlimited schooling, backpacking trips across Asia, paying his car off, lodging near campus, and living money were all brought up. Most by my ex-wife. She has not put anything towards these funds. You're an idiot for expecting your fairly young children to take responsibility for investing their college funds. That was incredibly irresponsible parenting, and it's quite convenient that you're now washing your hands of the whole thing. Not an idiot. If your ex literally said you're favoring your daughter when she had the same choices as the son and financially hurting your son, who, again, had the same choices, then we see who's really got a favorite here. Had the tables been turned, I suspect she wouldn't be as concerned about the daughter who's not as much like her. If mom and her side of the family want to subsidize her favorite, then they are free to do so. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for telling my mother she tried to poison me? I, female 16, have autism and a big problem for me is how picky I am with food. The worst meal I could possibly be given is stew. I have explained this to my family many times, and after an argument I had when I was very little, around 5 or 6, we agreed that I'd never have to eat it again. Recently, out of nowhere, my mom says that we're, my family, having stew, all of us, including me. This makes me really upset because this was an over 10-year-old argument that I thought had been put to rest, only to be brought up again. I try to be nice and just don't talk to her while she makes it. I don't want to upset her by being mean about her cooking. After pleading with her to not make me eat it, I give in and just force it down. Just as I remember, it was vile. I felt nauseous and was lucky I didn't throw up in front of her immediately. She jokes about whether I'm going to talk to her again because she knows how much I hate it, and I say, "No, you just gave me poison." She goes deathly quiet and doesn't talk to me, and she's normally really talkative. She sends me upstairs before washing up, which I normally do, and afterwards my brother, male 17, tells me I upset her too much and that I should apologize. I didn't want to at all, but I did anyway because she'll hold a grudge forever if I don't. I realize calling the meal poison was a bit far, but I still think that I'm not in the wrong. Am I an idiot? Edit. Since a few people have asked, no, I couldn't make a different meal for myself. I know my mom, and she would have flipped her lid if I completely refused to eat it and went against her cooking. Secondly, I've had the discussion with her multiple times, even recently, about how much I still don't like it. She was fully aware of my hatred for it and gave it to me anyway, knowing that I'd react like this. I'm more upset that she gave it to me in the first place, knowing my reaction, than the actual meal itself. Last edit. I feel like some people don't understand fully, so I want to clarify some extra details here. I constantly eat food that I don't like. I'd reckon I eat about 3-4 meals a week that I dislike, and I don't complain or say anything about them. My mom makes 2 meals most nights, either for herself because we don't like her meal, or just for my dad because he doesn't like ours. Making a different meal is pretty standard for us, so this was really surprising to me. She often doesn't compromise on a meal that I do, and stew is the only meal I have ever flat refused to eat. I discussed with her at least 5 times before the meal was ready if I could eat something else, often stating that I'd make it myself so she wouldn't be doing more work. Every time I asked, she refused to let me do this. She knew that stew was the only food I would never eat. She knew how upset I'd be immediately and laughed the first few times I begged to eat something else. I tried everything I could to eat a different meal and tried to compromise in ways I didn't want to. She still made the meal and laughed after I ate it too because it seemed funny to her how extremely I reacted. I hope this edit clears a few things up. You're an idiot. I think you have inflated this into a much larger issue than it had to be. Your mom did nothing wrong by preparing stew for dinner. If you have an aversion to it, you should have asked if you could make yourself something else for dinner. Claiming she poisoned you is a harsh response, especially since the last time you talked about stew was when you were 6. 10 years have passed. Maybe she assumed it was something you had an aversion to as a child, but was fine to try again considering that 10 years had passed. Not an idiot. This sounds like it's a power play on your mom's part. Sure, it can be a pain making multiple meals, but there's no reason why she can't let you make yourself something different to eat since she knows you have sensory issues around this meal. I'm in my 30s and there's certain things that make me vomit. Heck, sometimes even the smell of some of them can make me dry heave. So can relate to how sensory issues are a real problem that should be accommodated now for the next story. Am I the idiot for not listening to my fiancé? My fiancé doesn't drink, and he never really gave me a reason why. He just said he doesn't really see the purpose in alcohol or other substances and stuff. But it has never been an issue. He has never judged me for drinking, and he is the type of person who can have fun sober. Our wedding planner came to our apartment today to ask for details for our wedding, and my husband told me and her for the first time that he doesn't want alcohol at the wedding. This came as a shock to me, but I just told the wedding planner to hold off on that so me and my husband could discuss and plan other things. This was just the first meeting with the planner, and we are planning a winter wedding, when the planner left. I asked my husband why he doesn't want alcohol there, and he said there was no reason, and I said if there's no reason then we're going to have alcohol there. Then he told me his mom is an alcoholic, but she has been 9 years sober. I asked if his mom asked him not to order alcohol, and he said no, but he doesn't want her to feel triggered. I noticed that his mom doesn't drink, but I thought it was a family thing. I have attended multiple family functions, most of which had alcohol present, and I have never seen her take a sip. I think that just speaks to her self-control. I told my husband that I don't think his reasoning is valid, and brought up how he is going out of his way to do this when his mom didn't ask him to, and that she has amazing self-control. He got upset and said I was not giving him any say in our wedding, and that if I couldn't even listen to him about this, then I should just plan the wedding by myself and have fun going to the wedding planner by myself. I feel like he is only thinking about himself. My family is big on drinking, and they are obviously going to want to celebrate with me. Plus, we want a really fun reception, and I'm not sure if we can achieve that without alcohol. Am I the idiot here? Not an idiot. He sprung that on you with no warning at a meeting with your wedding planner, and ultimately his mom's sobriety is her responsibility. His response does make me wonder if he's had his own problematic relationship with alcohol. Not an idiot. It could be an ESH or NAH if he would actually communicate. What the hell is wrong with this sub and its weird puritanical views on alcohol? How do so many of you make the jump from, I don't want a dry wedding, there is normally alcohol at big family events, to, we are all alcoholics who want to get blind drunk? Is this a US thing? Alcohol can be a great social lubricant at these sorts of events. It can help with small talk, getting out on the dance floor, and generally being more sociable in general. Now for the next story. Am I the idiot my son says I'm favoring his sister due to her illness? I, male 48, have 2 kids, Aaron, male 15, and Jennifer, 15F, they are twins. I recently lost my wife due to breast cancer, and since then things have been hard. However, my wife comes from a very rich family which has supported me and my children ever since. Jennifer had been diagnosed with brain cancer 3 months before my wife passed. However, I've only recently received information from her doctors about how long she has to live. They say she has until 17 if lucky. This has of course stressed me out. My days mostly consist of doing whatever Jennifer wants to do before her time passes and constant doctor appointments. Sometimes these appointments clash with Aaron's activities and lead me to missing some of his most important days. Usually Aaron understands this, but it seems not this time. His team had gone to the finals and were playing a game, and he wanted me to come, but the doctor had called us earlier in the day talking about potential treatments, and I just couldn't go to his match. He came home mad and upset about how I had missed a game. I'd be fine with him expressing his anger, but the level he was yelling at was simply too much, and Jennifer is very sensitive to loud noises. When I tried to explain this, he said that I was being a total dickhead and neglecting him. Aaron has been staying with his aunt since that argument and has not been contacting me. Only Jennifer edit. No, their aunt is unable to take Jennifer to her appointments. This is because Jennifer feels uncomfortable about being with anyone that is not me or my wife. I am trying my best to give both children equal attention, but due to her fear of death, Jennifer has been extremely clingy, and I just don't have it in me to tell her I need to spend more time with her brother and leave her. Please understand, I am not purposely neglecting my son. It is the last thing I'd do. You're an idiot. Your son has lost his mom, he's losing his twin, and he feels like he has lost his dad. Your response to him has to keep that in mind. It does sound like he's being neglected. I don't think it's fair to call him an idiot in this situation. You have to find a way to keep parenting him while still being there for your daughter. No idiots here. You're doing your best to handle everything. Your son is also going through this and is asking his only parent for more support. You're not an idiot, but you may have overlooked his needs in this hard time. Please make more room for him in your plans going forward. Now, for the next story. Am I the idiot for eating a steak burrito that was meant for someone else? I work in an office that gets a lot of wrong deliveries. We are Unit E in a commercial development on a street that ends with the word East. So, if someone does not specify their unit, we usually get it delivered here. Today, a DoorDasher dropped off a Chipotle bag at the front counter and dashed out. I will usually try to catch them before they leave when this happens. It has happened before, but this dasher was a fast one. In and out. I waited about 10 minutes, then went up to the front counter and grabbed the bag and took it back to my desk. Another 5 minutes goes by, and I'm thinking that it's been left here and that the dasher is not coming back. I didn't want the food to go to waste, and I also had not eaten lunch, so I decided to eat the food. I get 2 bites into the steak burrito, and the dasher comes back into the office. She sees me chewing and asks me about the Chipotle bag that she mistakenly dropped off. I am chewing, and before I could swallow, she figures out that I am eating the food she left. She asks me if I ate the food, and I nod my head. I probably also have a caught red-handed look on my face while this is happening. She says, "Frick," and walks out. I feel pretty guilty, and I hope she doesn't get in trouble. I finished the burrito, and now I'm typing this out. Am I an idiot? Edit. I did not think at the time of writing this that the dasher coming back to fix their mistake was a problem. But after reading these comments, I feel much better, and 99% of my guilt is gone. Once it was delivered, it was sealed. The food was going to be trashed. Or is it supposed to be trashed according to protocol? Bonus. I did leave out the part where there is a second, not steak, burrito in the bag. It looks like my wife will be getting a burrito after work too. Not an idiot. As a manager at a pizza place, if we give person A, person B's food and vice versa, and they both return the food, say it's a pickup order, we are required to remake the food and give the right order to the right customer. Once it is out of the employee's hands and out the door, it is considered dead contaminated. I would be horrified if I learned my food ordered through the DoorDash was sitting in some office, handled by someone else, then picked up again and dropped off to me. Not an idiot. Because that food could not have been delivered to the person who ordered it after it was left unattended by the dasher because of the possibility of food tampering or other such things. If you're in a restaurant and the server puts the wrong food in front of you, they're not allowed to pick it up and put it at the right table. That food gets put in the trash, usually just eaten by servers, and a new order is made. It's the same concept for food delivery.